Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to online sport program for round 2 week 7. I am Zubia Razak, your science teacher and grade is 7. Recipes chapter number 5, human organs and systems. Task 1, aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration requires oxygen, whereas anaerobic respiration takes place in the absence of oxygen. Word equation for anaerobic respiration in animals is glucose is directly converted into lactic acid plus energy. When the animal cell does not have the necessary oxygen to break down glucose molecules, it has to carry out anaerobic respiration. This can occur in muscle cells during strenuous exercise. Example of aerobic and anaerobic respiration. The example of anaerobic respiration is weightlifting, while the example of aerobic respiration is step ups. Why less energy is released during anaerobic respiration? Here is a diagram which is representing the cellular respiration. Cellular respiration is the process of breaking down food molecules to obtain energy and store in the form of ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. In aerobic respiration, glucose is completely broken down into carbon dioxide and water. However, in anaerobic respiration, the breakdown of glucose is incomplete. The end product of anaerobic respiration is lactic acid instead of carbon dioxide and water. This process occurs in oxygen depth. Hence, the amount of oxygen required to oxidize lactic acid to carbon dioxide and water is not present. Aerobic respiration produces 38 ATP, whereas anaerobic respiration produces only 2 ATP molecules. What is the heart made of? Heart is made of cardiac muscle tissue. It pumps oxygen-rich blood from the alveoli out to the body, and it pumps oxygen-poor blood from the body into the alveoli. What are the upper and lower chambers of the heart called? The four chambers of the heart have special names. An upper chamber is called an atrium, and the lower chamber is called a ventricle. So here are right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium and left ventricle. Did you know that left ventricle is 3 times thicker than the right one? So here is left ventricle, which is 3 times thicker than the right. These are home tasks for the day 1. Task 2. How much blood is there in your body? Here is a mosquito and it is feeling happy and saying, I am going to suck all your blood. And here is a person who is replying, try your luck. I am having 4.5 liters of blood in me. A healthy adult with a body weight of 60 kg has around 4.2 to 4.8 liters of blood. On your textbook, the amount of blood is 5.5 liter. Name 4 things that make blood. The elements of the blood are plasma, platelets, red blood cells and white blood cells. So here are white blood cells. Name 4 things that are transported in blood plasma. These are water, ions, proteins, nutrients, wastes and gases. What do red blood cells do? Their job is to transport oxygen, to body's tissues in exchange for carbon dioxide, which is carried to and eliminated by the lungs. So here are red blood cells. Describe how blood transports oxygen around the body. Red blood cells are very important as they carry oxygen from the lungs to every other cell in the body. They contain a molecule known as hemoglobin. It is the molecule that picks up the oxygen from the lungs and transports the oxygen molecules throughout the body. Give two differences between red blood cells and white blood cells. A red blood cell contains hemoglobin, while white blood cell does not contain any hemoglobin. I mean to say, hemoglobin is absent. There is no nucleus in red blood cell, while in white blood cell, nucleus is present. What are antibodies? When people get an infection, the immune system makes antibodies, proteins that help fight the infection. If anybody is suffering from COVID-19, it means that antibodies are absent in his or her immune system. What is the difference between antibody and antitoxin? Antibodies help stop intruders from harming the body. Intruders are different types of pathogens, and pathogens are disease-causing agents. Antitoxin formed in the body by the introduction of a bacterial poison or toxin and capable of neutralizing the toxin. People who have recovered from bacterial illness often develop specific antitoxins that confer immunity against recurrence. How platelets form a blood clot? What is the function of platelets? Platelets play an important role in blood clotting. They break open when they come in contact with the sharp edge of a broken blood vessel and release chemicals which begin the blood clotting process. So here you are watching that platelets are responsible for making a seal over the damaged and injured area. So here would be a blood clot. What is tissue fluid? Tissue fluid is a watery liquid that bathes the cells. That is how materials are exchanged between the blood and cells. What are these materials and which way are they going? From the blood to the tissues, oxygen, glucose, amino acids, fatty acids and salts. From the tissues back to the blood, carbon dioxide and waste products. Why does tissue fluid leak out of blood capillaries? It comes from substances that leak out of blood capillaries. The smallest type of blood vessels are capillaries. It helps bring oxygen and nutrients to the cells and to remove waste products from them. Explain why fresh meat is wet. So here you are watching this fresh meat has a wet appearance. It is due to the tissue fluid that is present inside this meat. Urea gets from body cells to blood plasma by diffusion through the tissue fluid. Explain what this means. The waste product urea diffuses from the cells of the liver to the tissue fluid and then across the capillary walls into the blood plasma. These are home tasks for the day 2. I hope this lecture was a good source of information. Thank you and have a nice day.